All right, well, a good afternoon to you. Thanks for finding us here at Fox 26. I'm meteorologist John Dawson. Just kind of want to jump in here real quick, give you a little bit of an update on expectations for this evening. Now, most of us are going to be just cruising along and enjoying some more fantastic weather. Maybe it's even your spring break, or you know someone who is. And yeah, this has been fantastic weather spring break wise. But for some of the Fox 26 viewing area, and as you can tell from the map here, that's going to be the northern folks in our Fox 26 viewing area. There are some concerns of some showers and a brief opportunity for a few stronger storms that are going to flare up. So when we get a little bit of a closer look, you can tell that we're really even talking about north of the Woodlands, the northern portions of Montgomery County, up into Walker County, and yes, there's some other counties kind of thrown in there a little bit, over around Lake Livingston and over to the west, our friends in College Station area. But the yellow is that 2 out of 5 threat for a severe storm. The green here is the 1 out of 5 threat. So this is from the Storm Prediction Center, and it's basically just saying that not just a thunderstorm, but one that could have some damaging winds, possibly even some rotation involved. Low likely that it would be a tornado, but again, these are the threats that we're talking about. And it could also have some damaging hail that's mixed in there. So those are kind of what we're looking at strictly for our northern areas. Now, I'm not even sure, I'm pretty confident that we're not really even going to see rain in the downtown Houston area. So this is going to be a brief opportunity, and it's going to be just for those northern counties. We're kind of getting set up in the upper levels of the atmosphere where we got a lot of energy that's kind of being released here in this yellow shaded area. Mostly that having to do with our jet stream that's contributing to that. But there's also some drier air that's kind of working into the south and some more humid air that's to the north. And you kind of, again, put all that together and you sort of get yourself lined up, at least for the recipe of some stronger storms. And as mentioned, most of that's going to happen well to the north of the Houston area, but some of our northern counties are going to be caught up in that. I just want to mention this briefly. This is for Friday. So again, a few possible storms tonight, relatively quiet tomorrow, but then when we get into Friday, there's going to be another area of our country where we're certainly seeing some storms. Southeast Texas left out of this one, but this is that level 3. So we're already stepping up the threat level, and it again is going to be impacting some folks if you happen to be traveling around on Friday or know some folks who are. That's the part of the country that should be concerned. Beautiful across the downtown Houston area. It is a little warmer than what we sometimes are used to feeling. 80 degrees currently in the Houston downtown metro area. Breezy southwest winds at around 19 miles an hour. We're seeing these dew points starting to creep up a little bit. So with the southwest winds, it kind of helps hold it a little bit steady. Once it gets to the true south or southeast, that's when we certainly increase those humidity levels, and we'll be kind of working our way that direction over the next couple of days. Here are the temperatures, weather where you live in the Harris County area. Atascocita at 82 degrees. Sugar Land over at 80 degrees. Angleton a little milder down along the coast at 76. Maybe you're heading out to the rodeo this evening. Pretty good looking forecast. As I mentioned, I'm not looking for rain in the Houston area. We're going to see those 70s, upper 70s and mid 70s as we get a little bit later on into the evening. And then overall, the temperatures are mild and breezy stays with us through the evening. And here's what we're looking at with wind gusts. So these are not sustained winds. These are wind gusts. And as we go through the rest of the evening, we're going to keep them into the 20s until after we get past midnight, and those start to sort of go down a little bit. But even tomorrow morning, we could have a few breezy conditions around. So the Futurecast here is going to be able to show you a little bit what my concerns are as far as those stronger storms, and you'll notice they are pretty much later in the evening. We're going to start our Futurecast at around 5:30, a little bit after 6. We start to see some of the storms beginning to get themselves organized, and then we go to 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. This is somewhere in the 8:30 time frame. It's a little bit more organized. This is Huntsville, so even north of Huntsville, up into Madisonville, looking for those stronger storms, and then then by the time we get to 10 to 10:30, we're already starting to clearing them out. Still, Livingston could be a threat. So again, you give or take a little when we're looking at a future cast like this, but you get the idea. It's a fairly brief window from more or less that 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock time frame that we're going to see these storms kind of blowing on through here for our northern counties of the Fox 26 viewers. Meanwhile, back here, we'll see the clouds starting to build into the downtown Houston area, but not really looking for a whole lot of rain. And this is going to be associated with a weak front that's moving from the west to the east, and we'll look for that to get even more sort of serious, as I talked about those storms, once it gets into the Friday time frame. Thursday, I'm not really looking for that much action overall. Mild overnight. We're going to be in the lower 60s. So downtown Houston area about 62 degrees. We're looking at Pasadena around 64. Again, this is weather where you live for Harris County, lows tonight. So overall, looking at today, we made it into the lower 80s for those highs. Breezy conditions, warming up even warmer for tomorrow into the upper 80s. So as I talked about a weak front or a cold front not impacting us temperature wise, we'll be in the, we probably will have some of us even hitting that 90-degree mark for tomorrow. Lots of sunshine still expected. We start to cloud back up a little bit more on Friday, and then into Friday night, there are some increased rain chances as well. I do want to note for you folks who have been kind of keeping track with the lunar eclipse that's going to be happening on the Thursday night into Friday morning time frame. So this AM is technically Friday morning AM. This is going to be one of those situations where we start the evening with pretty clear skies, but as we progress through the evening, clouds will start to and continue to increase. Hopefully we're going to keep that to less than 50% coverage, but it's sometimes hard to specifically time that out, and especially not knowing exactly where you are going to be looking up at the moon. That could differ a little bit from everybody. So just be aware it's not going to be a perfect night to view a lunar eclipse, but I think it'll still be a good enough chance if you want to stay up late or even set an alarm and wake up to go and look at it. It'll be another full year before you'll be able to have a full lunar eclipse for North America like what we're going to be able to see coming up at the end of this week. Past the 7-day forecast, our 6 to 10-day outlook keeps us Southeast Texas in those above average temperatures just a little bit, but also pretty standard as far as the kind of rainfall that we would see. Your precipitation outlook keeps just a little bit here and there, but this is still a relatively dry forecast. Not any high rain chances for the bulk of Southeast Texas. As I've talked about tonight, or the early evening hours this evening, there are those chances just for our northern counties. And then Friday in the evening, overnight hours is probably more like 40% chance, but during the daytime, I think we're going to keep it at 20 or so, and then maybe a little bit of a shower left over. Now, I know a lot of folks are on their spring break this week. Houston Independent School District, along with most of the colleges that I am at least aware of, are doing spring break this week, but I know a lot of the suburbs are having their spring break next week. But we've got great weather for really both of these 2 weeks of spring break that we're getting. Yes, last week, this week, we did have some 40s in the morning. I don't have any of those forecasted, but it does look like Monday morning, at least some of us might be in the 40s, but lower 50s or right at 50 degrees is more or less kind of what I'm looking at overall as far as those are concerned. All right, that'll put us pretty much in place there for some 80s as we're moving through the rest of the 7-day forecast. That's going to do it for now with our update. We'll keep you updated as necessary as far as those storms when they start firing off later on this evening. I'll expect to see you here in about 50 minutes for the full Fox 26 news at 5 p.m. coming up. We'll see you then.